Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Friends, before going into the details of the war, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. Please support by subscribing and turning on the notification bell. We are a strong community. Russian defense chief says 87,000 mobilized people sent to combat zone in Ukraine. Shoigu says people serving in army under biannual conscription will not be sent to the combat zone. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said on Tuesday that 87,000 of 300,000 mobilized people have already been sent to the combat zone in Ukraine. Speaking at a meeting with military chiefs in Moscow, Shoigu said conscripts, who reported to the military service under Russia's biannual conscription campaign, will not take part in Russia's special military operation in Ukraine. 87,000 people were sent to the combat areas after additional training and combat coordination. The combat coordination of the formed units is being completed at the training grounds. The main efforts are focused on field training, the ability to use means of communication, navigation, and reconnaissance. More than 3,000 instructors who received combat experience during a special military operation were involved in the work, he said. All servicemen, who finished their military service under conscription, will be sent to homes, Shoigu also said. The minister added that foreign mercenaries continue to take part in the war on Ukraine's side and that over the past 2 weeks, almost 200 of them were killed in fighting in the conflict zone. He noted that the Russian daily airstrikes decrease Ukraine's military potential as they hit the enemy's critical infrastructure. According to Shoigu, Kyiv responds with endless attacks on the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, evacuation points, and points of distribution of humanitarian aid. The Defense Ministry announced on Tuesday the beginning of the autumn conscription in Russia. According to the ministry's statement, this year, 120,000 people have to report to the military under conscription. On September 21, October 28, Russia also carried out a partial military mobilization, under which 300,000 recruits were enlisted into the army. On Friday, Shoigu said the partial military mobilization was over, and on Monday, the ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov reported that all mobilization activities were completed. The military commissariat stopped issuing and sending notifications and returned to routine work. A strike group of ships headed by a nuclear aircraft carrier left for Europe from the USA. The group includes 6 NATO warships and several US warships, including a missile cruiser and a nuclear attack submarine. The USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier has 90 aircraft and helicopters, including F-35C fighters. The ships are due to arrive in Portsmouth in the UK in November, the UK Defence Journal reports. The US is likely to increase its military presence in Eastern Europe as a signal to Russia against the backdrop of its nuclear blackmail, the publication notes. Russia starts larger evacuation of occupied southern Ukraine amid counteroffensive. Russia ordered civilians to leave a sliver of Ukraine along the eastern bank of the Dnipro River, a major extension of an evacuation order that Kyiv says amounts to the forced depopulation of occupied territory. Russia had previously ordered civilians out of a pocket it controls on the west bank of the river, where Ukrainian forces have been advancing to capture the city of Kherson. Russian installed officials said on Tuesday they were now extending that order to a 15-kilometer buffer zone along the east bank as well. Ukraine says the evacuations include forced deportations from occupied territory, a war crime. Russia, which claims to have annexed the area, says it is taking civilians to safety because of a threat Ukraine might use unconventional weapons. Due to the possibility of the use of prohibited methods of war by the Ukrainian regime, as well as information that Kyiv is preparing a massive missile strike on the Kakhovka hydroelectric station. There is an immediate danger of the Kherson region being flooded, Vladimir Saldo, Russian installed head of occupied Kherson province, said in a video message. Given the situation, I have decided to expand the evacuation zone by 15 kilometers from the Dnipro, he said. The decision will make it possible to create a layered defense in order to repel Ukrainian attacks and protect civilians. Moscow has accused Kyiv of planning to use a so-called dirty bomb to spread radiation, or to blow up a dam to flood towns and villages in Kherson province. Kyiv says accusations it would use such tactics on its own territory are absurd, but that Russia might be planning such actions itself to blame Ukraine. The mouth of the wide Dnipro River has become one of the most consequential front lines in the war in recent weeks, with Ukrainian forces advancing to expel Russian troops from their only pocket on the West Bank. Russia has thousands of troops there and has been trying to reinforce the area. Ukraine's advance has slowed in recent days, with commanders citing weather and tougher terrain. Saldo, the Russian-imposed occupation leader for the province, identified 7 towns on the East Bank that would now be evacuated, comprising the main populated settlements along that stretch of the river. The European Union accused Moscow on Tuesday of launching a new program to illegally conscript men in Crimea, which Russia seized in 2014, to fight in its forces. The EU statement said Moscow was disproportionately conscripting members of Crimea's indigenous Tatar minority to fight in its war. Russia, which launched its special military operation in Ukraine in February, has announced it has completed a mobilization drive ordered in September by President Vladimir Putin, saying it had called up 300,000 reservists and more were not needed. But Putin has not issued a decree ending the mobilization, raising concern he could restart it without notice. A senior Russian ruling party senator said on Tuesday a decree formally ending the mobilization was not needed. New commander. New goals for Russia in Ukraine. The appointment of General Sergei Surovikin as the new commander of Russia's special military operation in Ukraine, together with the elements of martial law announced by the Kremlin, gives some clues as to Russia's medium-term military and political goals in Ukraine. Surovikin's strategy and mandate can be summarized as switching to strategic defense on all fronts, with the possibility of diversionary attacks and local tactical offensives to improve Russia's positions. Russia intends to build a solid and durable line of defense in the territories it has occupied in order to prevent any major breaches by the Ukrainian armed forces or any further shifts in the new borders. In other words, Russia aims to put a stop to the intensive fighting before winter sets in, effectively freezing the conflict and retaining the territorial gains it has made so far. That is all the Russian command is capable of right now. Certainly there is no question of any new large-scale offensive into Ukrainian territory. Russia's critical lack of modern military hardware prevents it from being able to launch offensives against its better-equipped enemy. Moscow needs a lengthy pause in the fighting in order to rebuild combat-ready ground troops almost from scratch. Partial mobilization was needed, as President Vladimir Putin openly said, in order to hold a front line 1,000 kilometers long. The poor level of the training and equipment given to newly mobilized troops means they cannot be used in offensive operations. But to hold and control the territory occupied by Russia behind the lines, even people with 50-year-old AKM automatic rifles will do. The new state of emergency laws introduced by the Kremlin in October are also aimed at being able to provide a strategic defense of the captured objectives, rather than all-out warfare to the bitter end. The economic and human mobilization should make it possible to continue the simmering, special military operation, until 2023, nothing more. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.